Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk on a Friday. We are just a few hours away from a long holiday weekend. We've got 3 hours of sports talk coming your way this afternoon on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And streaming live on video on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. However you are consuming the program today, thanks for being along for the ride here on 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Delighted to be with you this afternoon. Brendan Dworzinski, that's how you say his name. I haven't forgotten just because he's been gone for a day or two. His last name is pronounced Dworzinski. He is off today. He'll be back after the holiday weekend, and Spencer Dupuis will be along later on today. So we've got 3 hours of sports talk, plus a little extra. We'll have some overtime for you today before we hand off to the Royals Baseball Network with I call it an important series for the Kansas City Royals. As important as you can have in the month of May. But it is an important series for the Kansas City Royals as they take on the Minnesota Twins in Minneapolis this weekend. First pitch of tonight's game, 7:10, which means pregame coverage on the Royals Baseball Network begins at 6:30, which in turn means that we'll have some 580 Sports Talk overtime for you between 6 and 6:30. But 3 hours of your traditional 580 Sports Talk today, and we got some fun stuff we're going to do on today's show for all of you. We're going to talk about this Royals series. The Minnesota Twins are playing well, kind of out of nowhere. They looked to be kind of dead in the water, and they have won 14 of their last 16 games and have done so with some pretty important players sidelined, though they do look to be getting one of them back into the lineup tonight. Been a weird year for the Twins so far, but they're on a heater, and they're right there about dead level with the Royals in the American League Central standings. So this is a big series. This is a big weekend. And while I always broadly say that 500 ball on a road trip makes for a good road trip, and in the bigger picture, if the Royals come back having gone 3-3 on this road trip after winning a series in San Francisco, if they only salvage one in Minnesota, big picture, that's a good road trip. But on the other hand, this is a tiebreaker you'd like to have in the season series against the Twins. So this is a series you want to go out and win. Never mind the big picture. Go get these next three. Go find a way to get this series and try and slow down what has been baseball's, at least the American League's, hottest team. We'll preview the series. We'll tell you why the Twins have gotten rolling and why that makes this weekend really important, in particular for the Royals starting pitching. Talk about one Royal who absolutely loves playing at Target Field, and we'll look into tonight's pitching matchup as Noah Cameron gets the ball for his third big league start for the Royals. Pablo Lopez taking the bump for the Twins. Also, the Royals made a roster move today. Hunter Renfroe. Won't see him around no more. Hunter Renfroe designated for assignment. We'll talk about the ramifications of that roster move that the Royals made earlier today. Going to talk some football as well. Our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, will join us at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour, as he always does on Fridays. We'll check in with Matt and talk about the latest happenings in the Chiefs kingdom, which don't amount to much this time of year. There's not a lot of hot breaking news, but we'll find some stuff to chat about with our pal, Matt Derrick, including an article from ESPN who identifies one Chief as the most underrated player in the league at his position. Who am I talking about? We'll tell you about that a little bit later on in the show. Also, the big news in football this week has been the owners' meetings and the votes on new rules or rule proposals. Obviously, the big story, the tush push lives. The Eagles quarterback sneak will not be banned. But there was also a development this week that The NFL is going to allow its players to participate in flag football in the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. And in theory, this is a lot of fun to think about. When you think about some of the greatest football players in the world showcasing their skills in the world's sporting event in a different looking style of football. So in theory, it's a lot of fun to think about. And it's so much fun, in fact, that Spencer and I, because Spencer will be along later on, Spencer and I are going to draft our dream teams for flag football. We're not going to game it out ahead to 2028. We're going to draft for the here and now. If they were going to play in a week and we each needed to fill out a 10-man flag football roster, who would we want on our teams? We're going to do a little draft. And we're going to have some fun with that. And then I'm going to pour cold water on the whole thing and talk about why I actually think the NFL letting players participate in this flag football is really stupid. Because I think it's really stupid. Like I've had a chance to think about it and to weigh the pros and the cons. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer, especially on a Friday, especially before a holiday weekend. But I think this is really dumb. I don't think the NFL should have anything to do with this. I understand why they want to, but I think the players ought to choose wisely. Let's say that. I think players ought to choose wisely when it comes to their participation. So that's coming up too. Plenty of baseball, as I mentioned. We'll talk about some possible early trade candidates for the Royals. There's an article at MLB.com today about 6 teams who might already be looking to sell. Some of them are pretty easy to identify. I mean, really all you have to do is look at the standings and you know who's out of it and who would be willing to take some phone calls and maybe make some moves. I've got my wish list for players I think the Royals should be making phone calls on right now if they want to continue to be in the thick of the American League Central race. Plus, everything else you've come to know and love from a Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We will, of course, do our 580 Sports Talk headlines, including a playoff roundup. We will have a round of What Is Wrong With You and crown a weekly champion. We will do, on second thought, we will do Change My Mind. And we'll hear from you. We want your interaction on the program today. Want to hear from you. Maybe you're on the move today. Maybe you got off work a little early. You're heading out to the lake, or you're heading out to a vacation spot for the weekend, heading to see some family. Listen to the show today. You can interact with the program by texting the show, 785-272-9429. Don't text and drive, though. Have somebody else text for you. If you got something you really want to get off your chest on the text line, but you're driving, let somebody else, or do the voice to text. Do the car play. Do the voice to text. The number is 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also get at me in the YouTube chat. If you're watching the show right now on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk, the name of the channel, there is a live chat feature during the show in which you can interact with your hosts and your fellow listeners. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube this afternoon. Hello to Mark and Tyler and everybody who is watching, commenting, will watch, will comment on the show as we go along here. Again, we're with you until 6 plus a little overtime on this Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk, hopefully guiding you into a 3-day holiday weekend. Let's get to the big headline news. There's no bigger story in sports than this. The Royals DFA'd Hunter Renfroe earlier today. We had just talked yesterday on the show. Our guy Trenton Craxner called it in his article on Royals Review. Says time for the Royals to bring some guys up from AAA and refresh the group of position players. And there's some really obvious weak links that you can move off of. And Hunter Renfroe was the weakest of the links. The thought process behind signing Hunter Renfroe was sound at the time. Even though Renfroe was coming off of a down year in 2023, he was a corner outfielder with pop, and the Royals were in short supply of those going into 2024. So the Royals signed him to a contract that paid him $5.5 million last year. And then I believe it was a player option that Renfroe picked up for $7.57 million in 2025. I think it was a player option. It could be, maybe it was a club option, but I think it was a team option. And after a year in which Hunter Renfroe, literally, according to Baseball Reference wins above replacement, provided no value to the Kansas City Royals. He was replacement level, 0 wins above replacement last year. This year, he was even worse than that. He was worth less. He was worth negative 1.5 wins in just 35 appearances this season. We went through his numbers yesterday. I don't care how much you're paying a guy. I don't care how good a clubhouse guy he is. I don't care what hand he hits with, what side of the plate he hits from. I don't care about any of that stuff. Hunter Renfroe was not providing a single thing to the Kansas City Royals. He wasn't in for any power. He had not homered in 108 plate appearances. He was not doing particular damage against left-handed pitching, which was the justification for starting the season with him on the roster. Was, well, you know, he's always done some damage against lefties in his career, and maybe he can continue to do that. And then he could only play right field or DH, and the DH at bats for the Royals are spoken for, right? Like, there are not a lot of DH at bats to go around. They're either going to Salvador Perez or Jonathan India or Vinny Pasquantino. There aren't a lot of DH at bats to go around for the Royals. And when Hunter Renfroe got them, he did not take advantage. He wasn't doing any damage. He wasn't hitting lefties. The defense had gotten worse. And we all remember his shenanigans in right field on opening day. And this had to happen. And I said, as a parting thought when we were talking about this on yesterday's show, is that Memorial Day is around the time when teams start doing stuff like this. Start making the difficult decisions of, all right, we've got a guy on our team. He's well-respected. He's got a track record, but he's killing us. And now we've got 2 months of AAA stats to look at, and guys beating down the door, and we're going to have to make this hard decision and swallow some money in the act of designating a player who is still owed a good chunk of change for assignment. That is what the Royals did today. They have designated Hunter Renfroe for assignment. They have recalled Nick Lofton from AAA Omaha. First thing you note is that Lofton is a right-handed hitter like Hunter Renfroe is. But Lofton hasn't played a lot of outfield in his pro career. He's played a little left field. He's never played any right field. So if he were to be plugged into an outfield role, that would be something that would not be familiar or really comfortable to him. The other thing that jumps out about Nick Lofton, this is kind of what beating the door down looks like. He was batting .295 at AAA with a .451 on-base percentage. Like prime Barry Bonds, a .468 slug, had 12 doubles, 4 home runs in 184 plate appearances, also 12 of 13 stealing bases. He had walked 39 times to just 22 strikeouts. And David Lesky pointed out, he had the numbers on Blue Sky. The batted ball metrics were improving for Lofton at AAA. He was hitting the ball harder with more authority. So doing some things you would like to see him do. Now, Lofton's never going to be a big power guy for this team. And again, he's not a real outfield replacement for Hunter Renfroe. But I do wonder if maybe he could get a run of games at second base with Michael Massey continuing to struggle. Massey is coming off of a 3-hit game on Wednesday in San Francisco, but Massey's bat is still lagging well behind where the Royals probably anticipated and really what they need in a lineup that has obviously experienced a dearth of run scoring and production so far this season. Lofton came up as a shortstop. He's played a lot of second base. I would like to see a run of starts for Nick Lofton, and not just against lefties either, though this gives you a real natural excuse to sit Massey against a left-handed pitcher. I'm trying to think. I'm scrolling back up to check. The Royals see at least... Do they see a lefty this weekend? I thought they did. They don't. They see 3 righties this weekend, Lopez, Matthews, and Ober. For some reason, I thought Ober was left-handed. I must have had him confused with somebody else. Anyhow, it's natural to just plug in the righty against the lefty and do that. But I would like to see Nick Lofton get a start on the weekend at second base. Maybe 2 of them. And maybe that lights a fire under Michael Massey. Couple days off for him, resets him, feeling like his job is under threat. Maybe that lights a fire. But I would like to see a little bit of Nick Lofton because he has certainly shown in the minor leagues a knack for getting on base. His problem last year, and he got more of an opportunity than I realized last year. He almost got 200 plate appearances with the Royals last season and didn't do a lot with the opportunity. And frankly, the main reason he didn't do a lot with that opportunity was he didn't hit the ball with any authority. Like, you got to hit the ball hard if you want to do some damage against big league pitching. And Nick Lofton had all of 5 extra base hits in 171 plate appearances last year. That's a slugging percentage of .236. Now, he did show the ability to watch ball 4 at significantly above major league average. He walked in 11% of his at-bats last year compared to the major league average about 8.5% of the time. And he's not somebody who's going to strike out a lot. He's going to get the bat to the ball, but his average exit velocity last year was 83 miles per hour. And that is on the low end of all major league players. That's like swinging a wet newspaper at the plate. Now, his average exit velocity at AAA was up to 88 miles an hour, which is better, but still short of what you want for a guy to be a real productive hitter. But the Royals aren't counting on Nick Lofton to save their offense. They just need him to be a more productive part of their team than Hunter Renfroe. And that ain't going to be hard to be. All right? The bar is not high. So that's the move today. It's the only move that the Royals have made, but it was overdue to move on from Hunter Renfroe, who, hey, look, man, he was 33 years old, and Father Time is undefeated. And he is not the same power threat he once was. He is not the same defender. He was never a spectacular fielder. He always had a really good arm, but even that has started to slip. It's just not there anymore for Hunter Renfroe. No shame in it. He had a really nice career. If this is the end of it, and it may not be. Somebody may take a flyer on him. Somebody looking for a little bit of power. There had been a few extra base hits in recent games for Hunter Renfroe. Maybe somebody who, older players, they say they warm up with the weather, but the Royals offense so poor to this point, and they have guys at AAA who are beating the door down. It's time. It was time to make that move. So Nick Lofton joins the Royals team that heads to the Twin Cities for a 3-game series this weekend against the Minnesota Twins. And I love having a Memorial Day weekend series, especially since if the weather is as crappy as it looks like it's going to be, at least around here in the capital city, we're going to be spending a little more time indoors than we might like if it's going to rain on us all weekend. But it's fun to have a Memorial Day weekend series that means something. That feels like, all right, yeah, I know it's late or mid to late May, but these games might have a little purchase come September. These games do mean a little something. I love that. I love feeling like we're going into a weekend where the games matter. And the Twins have made them matter because they've won 14 of their last 16. They were 13-20 and had lost 4 games in a row back on May 2nd. Remember when the Royals played them the first time this year, back at the K, early April? They beat them 3 out of 4. The Twins were 4-9, and the vibes were rancid. If you had told me that the first American League manager to be fired this year at that point was going to be Rocco Baldelli, I would have signed off on that. I would have believed it 100%. But the Twins have won 14 of 16, mostly because their pitching and their pitching has been amazing. Their starting pitching's been really good. The bullpen has been outstanding. Still have Yohan Duran in the back end throwing that 103-mile-an-hour filth. They still have guys like Pablo Lopez and Royal killer Joe Ryan, who thankfully the Royals do not face this weekend. They are a team that has really thrived these last 2.5 weeks because the pitching has been excellent. And that's been crucial because they've lost a lot of pieces offensively. Both Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa have been on the injured list after they collided with each other last week in a game. Now, Correa is scheduled to come off the IL today. I haven't seen confirmation if he has or not. I haven't seen a lineup yet for tonight, but the anticipation, at least from the Twins side of things, the Twins reporting, was that it was going to be Correa added to the 26-man roster today, taking off the 7-day concussion IL. And I can confirm that. Just pulled up the lineup, and Correa's back in there hitting cleanup today for Minnesota. But it hasn't been the big names on the Twins who've been particularly outstanding. It's been guys like Cody Clemens, who was a free talent pickup because the Phillies released him. He's hitting more like Cody Bonds. And Harrison Bader's been red hot. Ryan Jeffers, their catcher, swinging a hot bat. Trevor Larnach is hitting the ball well. Larnach, Bader, and Jeffers all in the lineup tonight. Jeffers, in fact, the catcher, hitting leadoff. You don't see a lot of catchers hit leadoff. Ryan Jeffers hitting leadoff. So it's been one of those stretches, kind of like the Royals had, where it's been a different guy, a different hero every single night. The Royals really haven't had that stretch where they've just been powered by their stars yet this year, because Salvi hasn't really gotten going and Pasquantino really hasn't gotten going. And for the Twins, it's really been that team effort behind stellar pitching. And that is how they have gotten back into the race. And in fact, ahead of the Royals on percentage points in the standings going into this weekend, 27-22, the Twins. Royals are 28-23. Going to be a fun series. You know who else is looking for it or forward to it? Salvador Perez. Because he doesn't hit anywhere like he hits at Target Field. His 888 career OPS at Target Field is his best at any American League park. He doesn't hit anywhere else like he hits at Target Field, among ballparks that he's been to more than just like 1 or 2 times. So maybe seeing some comfortable environs can wake up Salvador's bat. He is coming off a game where he homered on Wednesday in San Francisco. Royals are going to need him because, again, it's been the pitching for Minnesota. This will be a series where runs are probably at a premium, particularly tonight for the Royals against the pitcher who's had their number in Pablo Lopez. They need a vintage Salvi series. But this will be a fun one and potentially a meaningful one. We may look back on this one in a few months, with the Royals coming in trying to slow down a Twins team that is red hot and looking to salvage their season. We'll take our first break here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt Derrick's going to join us in just a moment, so I want to lead into him with a brief note about an underrated Chief. And it's always interesting to talk about players who are considered to be underrated by a national perspective, because, I mean, we're knee-deep in it, right? We're knee-deep in it in the Chiefs' kingdom. We know who's good and who isn't. But this was interesting. There's one player who Aaron Schatz of ESPN believes is the most underrated player in the league at his position, and he wears a Chiefs uniform. We'll tell you who that is next. We got so much more to get to on the show today. We're just getting started on this Friday edition. Thanks for being with us on 580 Sports Talk. 3:32 on 580 Sports Talk. Matt Derrick at ChiefsDigest.com. Going to join us here in just a little bit. Mark H. in the YouTube comments asks what I think the Royals need to do next, what their next move is after they DFA'd Hunter Renfroe, called up Nick Lofton today. Spoke to this a little bit yesterday. I would like to see them give John Rave a look, probably at the expense of Kevin Biggio, who's not really given the Royals anything. You've got the utility infield spot now spoken for with Lofton on the roster. So get another extra outfielder up. Rave is a left-handed bat, just like Biggio. That like for like, I feel like, is the next logical thing for the Royals to do. Tyler says, bring up Jack. He another homer. He's ready for the show. Beating down the door, no doubt about it. Home run yesterday for Jack Caglione in his third game at the AAA level. It's getting harder and harder to preach patience. I still think that's the best way to go about it, especially when you've got a struggling offense. You don't want to bring up a guy with only a handful of AAA games under his belt, really only a handful of minor league games. You consider that he was drafted last year, and say, this is the guy that's going to save the lineup. I think that's a little too much pressure to put on one guy, but the more damage he does at AAA, the harder it's going to be to hold him back. Also, he needs more than like 3 games in right field, too, to make me feel real good about deciding, yep, there's your right fielder for the stretch drive. Give him a month. Let it bake. Like you put the cookie dough in the oven, right? Like, you could take it out after a minute. It would be edible. It wouldn't kill you as long as it's the kind of cookie dough that doesn't give you salmonella, right? Like, you could eat it after a minute, but why wouldn't you want to just let it cook to completion? Let it finish. I promise the end result's going to be great, but don't rush. Some things don't rush. Some things don't need to rush. Aaron Schatz of ESPN. I want to note this before we got to Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. Aaron Schatz wrote on ESPN.com, picking the most underrated NFL players at every position. And one Chief turned up, and that was George Karlaftis, most underrated edge rusher in the NFL, according to Aaron Schatz. Here's what he wrote. If you want to find an underrated edge rusher, there's a general rule to follow. Look for someone who ranks a lot higher in pressures than sacks. That means he's getting to the quarterback and causing negative plays for the opponent, even if he isn't getting the press. In 2024, Karlaftis was that guy. He followed up a 10.5 sack season in 2023 with 8 sacks last season, but his pressure total was far more impressive. Karlaftis was tied for 14th in the NFL with 44 pressures. He added 11 more in 3 playoff games and had 3 sacks against the Texans in the AFC's divisional round. Karlaftis's raw numbers lagged for a good part of last year. He didn't start racking up the sacks until late in the season. And I remember talking about it midway through last year, like, all right, where's the production from George? First double-digit sack in the season of his career in 23. Thought, is he going to level up? Is he going to, get a dozen sacks, 15 sacks? He ends up with 8. And on the face, that's a little disappointing. But the pressure metric, again, you talk about something we discussed at great length throughout last season, was the Chiefs are getting pressure. They're just not finishing plays. And Karlaftis was one of the main drivers of that pressure. And pressure does impact quarterbacks. It may result in a check down for a short gain or an incomplete pass more so than it does that splash play, that big loss that can blow up a drive. But it's important. And Karlaftis is really good at that. And maybe next year, given the fact that even though he only had 8 sacks, still had all those pressures, maybe next year's the year that he sees that jump in sack production, gets up to a dozen or more with a possibility of a nice contract extension from the Chiefs awaiting him if he does indeed level up. We'll see what Matt Derrick thinks about that distinction for George Karlaftis. We're going to talk to him about that and more. Our Chiefs insider joins us after this timeout. You're listening to 580 Sports Talk. We go to Kansas City for our Chiefs insider. Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline every Friday at this time. You can find him across all forms of social media under his name, Matt Derrick. Matt, it's Memorial Day weekend. Any big plans?
None whatsoever. Memorial Day, for whatever reason, my wife always ends up being off the weekend of Memorial Day, it seems like. And yet we never have any plans. It's just relax and chill out.
Honestly, I'm good with that. It's almost the end of the year, the school year for my wife, who's a teacher. And yeah, we just need a chill out week before the 3-day sprint to the finish for the school year. Because we had all those snow days in January, so they moved the school year back. They had 3 extra days tacked on after Memorial Day. So my wife's still got to teach after Memorial Day, which she's real thrilled about. But yeah, I'm down to just chill and maybe you fire up the grill, maybe a little bit of that.
I will definitely be some hot dogs consumed. I already bought some lemonade, so I think we got the staples taken care of.
Do you have a go-to dog, like the hot dog? You go to the hot dog aisle or the hot dog chest at the supermarket? Do you have like a go-to hot dog brand?
I really do like Schmecka's. They've got the local sausage company here in Kansas City.
Sure,
they've got some hot dogs. They're nice long, fun length. That's the important thing to me. I mean, I will eat almost any hot dog, but I really need a bun length hot dog. I don't like the short ones.
No, I respect that. I was a really big Ballpark Franks consumer, because they plump when you cook them.
Yeah, and once again, when it comes to, there's a lot of foods when, to me, I don't get too caught up in the brand names and how big of a deal it is. So, Oscar Mayer, that's the staple of them all. But I tell you what, yeah, Ballpark Franks, when you cook them, those are good ones. If you're going to go really overboard, you can get Hebrew National and Nathan's. Those are really good too.
Oh yeah, very famous brands, no question about it. That might be. I should put that in my hip pocket. We'll do that another day on the show. Let's talk some football though, Matt. Shall we? We're on with Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider from ChiefsDigest.com here on 580 Sports Talk. We were just talking about this before you came on, that George Karlaftis was named today by Aaron Schatz of ESPN the most underrated edge rusher in the NFL. And I think that you look at the raw production from last year, his sack total dropped from 10.5 in 2023 to 8 last year, but he was tied for 14th in the NFL with 44 pressures. Do you think maybe year 4 is the leap year potentially for Furious George in that sack category, that there's room for him, given how often he pressured the quarterback last year, to get back into double digits and maybe get to that 12 to 15 range where you see the elites end up?
Yeah, they often say it's generally believe that one of those things that, there is. If you look at the big longer term numbers and you look at it over a couple of seasons, usually there's a really strong correlation between pressure rate and sacks, but it can really depend on a year. Because once again, NFL season, 16, 17 games, it's a small sample size. So sometimes you will see it. And we had this with the Chiefs a few years ago where they had a really high pressure rate, got a ton of pressure on the quarterback, but didn't get a ton of sacks. And Chris Jones has had some of those seasons. And Karlaftis had one last year. There's usually a pretty, tight correlation as far as statistically, how many sacks you're going to get off of X number of pressures. And sometimes you just end up in the wrong side of the deviation. Maybe that was it for, George Karlaftis last year. If he gets the same number of pressures this season as he did last year, statistically, they would tell you that he's going to have a lot more sacks this year. That last year was just one of those weird, quirky years that kind of pop up in the short NFL seasons. So it wouldn't surprise me, and it wouldn't surprise me that if he had even more pressures this year, and maybe does have a double-digit sack year, because it's kind of a contract year. This is a chance for Karlaftis to go out there and prove to the Chiefs that he deserves a long-term deal to stay here in Kansas City.
He had 4 of his 8 sacks in his final 5 games of the season, and the number of quarterback hits that he had went up accordingly. And then, of course, he had the 4 sacks in the playoffs, 3 of them in the win against Houston. He had a sack in the Super Bowl as well. Why do you think that his production increased in the second half? Was that just a bit of a regression to the mean, or do you think that might have had to do with the presence of Charles Omenihu giving George some better matchups potentially to work with?
I mean, it did seem like the Chiefs were a better rushing team, once Omenihu came back, even though Omenihu himself didn't have like spectacular numbers or anything. And I mean, he'll tell you himself that he feels like he wasn't 100% of the way back from the ACL and is going to be a lot better this year. And the Chiefs are certainly banking on that. But it did seem like the Chiefs were getting more pressure and they were more productive once Omenihu came back. And once again, maybe some of it is just that Karlaftis was due. Maybe he got some of the sacks that maybe he should have gotten in the regular season. Maybe they just kind of statistical deviation went his way in the playoffs. Maybe he's even got a little bit of that that Frank Clark kind of in him, and that Frank Clark just seemed to be an absolute beast once the postseason came around. Maybe George has kind of got that in him too.
Our guest is Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. You can catch Matt every Friday at this time on the program, and of course, read him at ChiefsDigest.com. While we're talking about underrated or underappreciated players, apparently it's that time of year where we write about those kinds of players, because Pro Football Focus had a piece about the most underappreciated players on each AFC team. They landed on Noah Gray for the Chiefs. And Gray had last year the best season for a Chiefs tight end in terms of value by a tight end not named Travis Kelce or Tony Gonzalez. So obviously Chiefs have been spoiled for great tight end plays, what that tells you. But it also tells you that Gray took a bit of a step forward in that first year of his new 3-year contract. Moving forward, what is Noah Gray's usage and role in the offense looks like? Because I think that if he's on this team whenever it is that Travis Kelce decides to step aside, I don't think that you ask Noah Gray to just go be a carbon copy of Travis Kelce. I don't think that quite works. Kelce's kind of a one-of-one in some ways. But what do you think that Gray's role looks like? Do we see even more of him next season? Or do you think that he has kind of settled into what his role is going to be as long as 87 is around?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because, one thing it begs is, hey, will Noah Gray ever have the kind of relationship that Travis Kelce has with Patrick Mahomes? And that's a little bit, just of the intuition that those two guys have. Part of it, obviously, is that Noah Gray's the number 2 tight end. He doesn't get as many reps with Mahomes, doesn't do as much. I mean, even on the side, once again, Kelce's probably worked with Mahomes more than anybody else has. And obviously they're close friends. That's probably another piece of it too. They get to know each other in a lot of different ways, so maybe that helps on the football field. I think they would tell you that. I don't know if there's any reality to it, that maybe it is just the reps on the field. And if it is, reps on the field, would Noah Gray getting more time with Mahomes, would they develop that sixth sense of kind of knowing what the other one's going to do, thinking more the same way that, then maybe Noah Gray can do some of those things that improvisation that Kelce does? I don't know. I mean, and, the other part of it too is that, Noah Gray's a little bit smaller guy. And, when you think about it from that standpoint, there's not a lot of, great, 1,000-yard seasons. I'm not even sure, if I have to go back and look at my list again, I'm not even sure if there's been a 6'3", tight end who's ever had a 1,000-yard season. I think, like looking at it, I think Bobby Ingram was the most successful, tight end of that size, at least in the modern era. And, when maybe heights are a little bit more reliable, because at least they're based on the combine numbers. But I think it's a fair question, because you're right. The skill set's not the same. So, given an opportunity to play 100% of the snaps over a 17-game season, or at least get the number 1 tight end role, would he get the same number of targets? I think the Chiefs will tell you that Patrick tends to favor, receivers that are a little bit taller. So, hey, if there's a moment when Noah Gray is the biggest target on the field for Patrick Mahomes, maybe he will get all those throws. And then it just comes down to, can he make those plays and turn them into yards? I mean, the numbers always tell you that a guy like Noah Gray, that there's a ceiling, and he hasn't reached it yet. But I think that last year was a good indication that there's still more for Noah Gray to, get out there. He kind of, when Kelsey, was kind of dinged up a little bit early in the season, and Noah Gray got to play a little bit more. That helped. But I don't know. I mean, I still feel like there's more out of Noah Gray. That the more plays that he gets, that he can make it. But I still feel like that, the Chiefs are no different than anybody else. I mean, they and I think Patrick Mahomes is the same way. If he gets himself another, 6'5", 255 tight end, that's probably the guy that he would love to throw to.
Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest is our guest here on 580 Sports Talk, joining us for our Chiefs Insider. We do this every Friday at this time. Matt, big news this week in the NFL from the owners' meetings. Couple of things were passed by the league, or at least not banned by the league in the case of the Eagles quarterback sneak. That play survives, and of course, it calls to mind the fact that the Chiefs haven't run a proper quarterback sneak with their starting quarterback since he dislocated his knee against the Denver Broncos, going back to his third season in the pros, second year as a starter. Would we ever, under any circumstance, see Andy Reid break out the tush push?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, because I mean, it's odd there. I mean, Andy Reid has, been supportive of it. He doesn't seem to think that there's anything wrong with it, yet the Chiefs, voted to ban it. I know that there's been a lot of disagreement in it's been a close call both ways. In March, I think Clark Hunt would have been a no vote. I kind of expected him to be a no vote this time around, because he certainly seems to be of the philosophy when we spoke to him at the draft that, he feels like if you're going to ban the tush push, then just any pushing or pulling of the ball carrier should be banned. I don't know. I mean, I think that Andy Reid gets it, that the one thing to run it and do it correctly is you got to practice it. And so I just can't imagine that he would ever run it without having spent a lot of time working on it in practice. And I mean, as long as Patrick Mahomes is his quarterback, I just don't know if he's ever going to spend any time doing that, even with a backup quarterback.
All right, last one for you, Matt. We got about a minute here. Also passed at the owners' meetings, the ability for NFL players to participate in the flag football competition at the 2028 Summer Olympics. Flag football is 5-on-5 on a 50-yard field. It's a very different game, obviously, than pro football. That being said, if you could pick one Chief to represent Team USA on the flag football side, which Chief do you think would make the best flag football Olympian?
Ooh, it's a close call for me between, I think, Xavier Worthy and Trent McDuffie. Age-wise, for the 2028 Olympics, I'd probably go with McDuffie with Worthy, because I just think, I mean, his size, everything that he's got, I think his athleticism, I think would translate really well to it. And speed is the most important thing in that game. I mean, you got to be fast. And so I think he'd probably be the best. Defensively, you want some ball hawks. Maybe you'd like somebody that's a little bit bigger than McDuffie, but I'd still like him. I mean, because I think he's glue. He can be around anybody, break up anything. But I think those two guys would probably be the best on the team.
I think I'm right there with you, particularly with McDuffie. No spoilers for the flag football draft we're going to do here on the show in the next hour. But Matt Derrick is our Chiefs insider, writes for ChiefsDigest.com. Joins us every Friday here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, it is always a pleasure. Enjoy a relaxing Memorial Day weekend. We'll do this again next week.
Sounds great, Dan. You do the same. Take care, my friend.
That is Matt Derrick. We will step aside for timeout, come back, and wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk after this. I got two on second thoughts for you as we wrap up this 3 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. First is one I already kind of nodded to. I thought the Twins were cooked. I thought Rocco Baldelli was on his way out as the manager. I thought their culture, their vibes were rancid. The way last year ended, them finishing out of the playoffs, and the way this year began, I thought that things had taken a turn for the worse in the Twin Cities. But winning is a cologne that will mask bad vibes. And right now, that's what the Twins are doing a lot of. Winners of 14 of their last 16. And their talent level, particularly on the mound, really never in question. It was just a matter of feeling like they didn't have what it took. Maybe between the years, maybe they weren't mentally tough enough. But they've ripped off this winning streak in May. We'll see if it persists. But right now, you've got to take the Twins seriously as part of the contender class in the American League Central. My other on second thought, and we're going to expand on this in the 4 o'clock hour. At first, I was all for the idea of NFL players doing flag football in the Olympics. The more I've thought about it, the more I think it's a really dumb idea. And I will talk about in the next hour why I think it's a really dumb idea. But then we're going to do the fun part of it, which is imagining NFL players playing flag football. Spencer and I are going to do an Olympic flag football team draft, and we'll talk some Royals trade deadline and do what is wrong with you as well. That's all coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on a Friday afternoon, the Friday before a long weekend. That includes for us because we're taking Memorial Day off as well. So this is the last Sports Talk you get until next Tuesday. We got 2 more hours with you, plus a little overtime before Royals baseball here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Online at 580WIBW.com and live in living color on our YouTube stream, on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you for these next 2 hours. Brendan Dworzinski is vacationing. He'll be back after the Memorial Day holiday. Want to hear from you? The text line is open. 785-272-9429 is the text line number. That is 785-272-9429. Can also interact with us in the chat on YouTube. Again, the channel name is 580 Sports Talk. You can search for us on YouTube. You can subscribe if you have not already. And you can jump in the comments, interact with each other, interact with us as we go along on this Thursday. Also, I neglected to mention this in the first hour, but I want to mention again that we've got a couple of tickets, a couple of pairs of tickets for the Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo in Strong City coming up on May 30th. I've got to unload 2 pairs of tickets today. So be listening for your chance to win a pair of tickets to go to the Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo in Strong City on May 30th. We'll give you a cue to call for those before we're done here at 6 o'clock today. Coming up this hour, we'll crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You. We have another update from a previous story, along with 2 new stories, try and take down our current weekly champion. A story with a very cumbersome name of a dead man, a hog farm, a nun, and a good bottle of bourbon. Nobody actually dies in the story. That would, of course, disqualify it from What Is Wrong With You consideration, but that's just the name of the story. We also are going to talk a little bit about the Major League Baseball trade market and the chance that it opens a little early because there are 6 teams that are drawing dead in the parlance of, I guess, card games, poker. 6 teams are drawing dead and might look to strike while the iron's hot, be the first ones to sell and be motivated sellers in a market where sometimes teams don't decide until like the week before the trade deadline if they're going to sell or look to add to their teams and be contenders. And from those 6 teams, I have some players that I think would fit the Royals really well. Some that we've talked about, some that we have not. So that's coming up a little bit later on this hour. We'll do Change My Mind into this hour as well. Still have headlines, playoff roundup, all that good stuff to get to on the show today. But we're going to start this hour with the flag football draft. Spencer, where do you come down on NFL players being allowed to compete in the Olympics in 2028?
Look, I don't know. I still haven't made a decision. I mean, on one hand, it's like, hey, like we're the only sport it feels like that's been eliminated from Olympic contention. I mean, you got LeBron's got gold medals, right?
Yeah.
You've got hockey players got gold medals.
Sure.
Multiple from whatever country they're from.
Right.
On the top of their game, right? You've got and even you got baseball, like there was baseball in the Olympics at one point.
Yeah. And
then they have their own.
The World Baseball Classic, yeah.
There's not really that for the NFL.
There isn't.
So
I understand the draw of it. I understand.
That's like what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm like part of the way there. And then it seems like some of the guys now are having a little bit of fun with the Pro Bowl being flag football, like the fun, the like joking, like, but then when it's the Olympics, it's serious.
Of course.
So then it's like, I don't really know. Like, would they really be willing to play? But they are competitive athletes. Like an athlete in nature is competitive. So
yeah,
I keep talking myself each way.
So I'm out on the idea. I actually think this is kind of stupid. And there are 2 reasons I'm going to give you why I think this is stupid. Here's reason number 1. Spencer, this is before your time, but do you remember, have you ever heard of a football player named Robert Edwards?
No.
Robert Edwards, yeah, this is before your time. Robert Edwards played in the NFL in 1998 and in 2002. And in 1998, as a rookie for the New England Patriots, he was a first-round pick out of Georgia as a running back. Going back a ways here. And as a rookie for the Patriots in 1998, Robert Edwards ran for over 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, caught 35 passes for 3 more touchdowns. Really, really good. So good, in fact, that he was invited to be a part of that year's Pro Bowl festivities, which included beach flag football.
Okay.
Flag football on the beach. Yeah. The rookie game, right? Robert Edwards suffered such a catastrophic injury in that game of beach flag football that he did not play in the NFL for 3 years. And when he finally returned in 2002, it was as a shell of himself, played 12 games for the Dolphins, rushed for 107 yards, caught 18 passes.
Wow.
Second in the comeback player of the year voting that year, but that was the functional end of Robert Edwards' career and injury suffered playing flag football. With careers so short in football as it is, I gotta believe that there will be, as much as the NFL is celebrating this for now and going to promote this, and I know the NFL is really behind the promotion, the elevation of the sport of flag football as a whole, you're going to hear from coaches, you're going to hear from agents, you're going to hear from trainers, you're going to hear from all these things saying, do you really want to take a chance on shortening a career that's already pretty short by going and playing competitive flag football? It's not for your team. It's not for any money. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to put your body at risk?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because we'll talk about this in the 5 o'clock hour during headlines, but allegedly Roger Goodell is 100% behind this.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely he is. He is all about promoting the game, growing the game, and what better way to grow the game? Flag football is football. There's football in it, right? What better way to grow the game than put it on the world stage? What better way to do it? So I understand why the NFL wants this, and I understand why part of it is the NFL saying, yeah, sure, we'll let some of our guys participate. Here's the other problem with this. Again, this is before your time, but the Dream Team in 1992, they got to play against some teams in the Olympics, and that's the draw of Olympic basketball is, yes, Team USA has the best team on paper every year, but Serbia has Nikola Jokic, and France has Victor Wembanyama, and Canada's got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Greece has Giannis Antetokounmpo, and all of these countries, even if their rosters 1 through 12 don't stack up to what the USA has, they're still bringing some real dudes who give you a chance, a puncher's chance to be competitive in a basketball game. Who are the dudes in other countries that are going to make this flag football competitive if Team USA rolls out the Dream Team? Who's going to compete with the flag football Dream Team? It's all going to look like the Angola game in 1992. That was the first Olympic opponent that the Dream Team had. They played Angola. And I'll never forget, they asked Charles Barkley, what do you know about Angola? Like, as a basketball team. And Charles Barkley said, I don't know nothing about Angola. I just know Angola's in trouble. And boy, were they. They lost by about a zillion points. And hey, we all watched it. I remember watching it with my parents as a little kid. I'm 5, and I remember watching this. But, yeah, it would be a whole lot of that. And I don't see what good that does anybody. I don't see how that's good for, cool, you won a gold medal. You beat up on, you went up and threw some go balls against a bunch of 5'8" guys from Japan who aren't sniffing the NFL. Cool, congrats, you beat Team Mexico. Good for you. Like, I don't see what the benefit is for the NFL players to participate in this. Just walk to a gold medal with a bunch of mercy rule victories against overmatched countries. Like,
you know who's going to be playing in it? For the UK, I can guarantee it if they hold a team. England, if they have a team. Luis Rees-Zammit.
Yeah, maybe he tried. He's not in the NFL still, is he?
He is still on the Jaguars roster.
How about that? Well, I mean, I guess he would be the Jaguar that got to try out for England unless somebody else on the roster's got some ancestry or whatever it is. But
if he still is on them.
So that's why I think in practice this is going to be a really dumb thing. But in theory, the idea of putting together a flag football dream team is so much fun. So much fun, in fact, that I decided it would be a fun little Friday diversion here on 580 Sports Talk to have you and I, Spencer, draft our dream teams for Team USA Olympic flag football. Now, we could do this a myriad of ways, but we're going to do it this way. We're going to do 10 rounds because each flag football team has 10 players. And we're going to draft for right now. So we're not drafting for 2028. We're not drafting for 3 years down the road. We are drafting for right here, right now. If I had to go and qualify, that's the other part of it too. You got to qualify for the Olympics, right? Team USA doesn't have to qualify. So yeah, maybe we got some NFL players who are like, yeah, my parents are from Nigeria, and I want to be on Team Nigeria, represent my parents' country in the Olympics. Cool idea. Are you helping them qualify? Are you going to get out of training camp to go qualify? No, you're not. No, you're not. So that's another reason, again, in practice, I don't think this actually works. But in theory, this is fun. So in theory, Team USA had to go qualify, and they don't. They're the host country in 2028. They get in. They don't have to qualify. And they would qualify as world champions anyway because they've won the last 4 international championships, which they've done, I shouldn't, again, note, without any NFL players on the roster. We're going to draft our teams. Now, for the sake of understanding what we're drafting for, Olympic flag football is going to be 5-on-5. You get 10 players to fill out your roster. You can draft whoever you want with those 10 guys, but it's going to be 5-on-5, 50-yard field. The rules are actually not convoluted, but like there are rules about like you have to declare that you're blitzing, and if you declare that you're blitzing, you can't be blocked. You get to just go a straight line at the quarterback, like right off the snap. If you
so when I was a kid,
blitzer.
When I was a kid, I played spring flag football, and I was like, every team I played on won the championship. So like I always got picked by like the people that were stacked teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
I played the center. I ran a few routes, caught a few balls in my day, but the rules are kind of crazy because it's 5-on-5,
right?
So like it's not like when I played, you had like a 5-second. The quarterback had a 5-second advantage.
Mm-hmm. Right. Very different at the international competitive level than it was in Pee-wee flag football or whatever you would want to call it. So anyway, with that in mind, let's draft our flag football teams. Let's do this. Team Dan and Team Spencer. I will start. I'm going to pick first, and we'll go snake draft, so you'll pick second and third. But I am going to pick first. Most important position on the field is quarterback. And quarterback or flag football team is an absolute no-brainer. It has to be Lamar Jackson. Oh, I almost forgot one other very important rule. We're going to follow the NFL's rule on this. 1 player per team per country. So now that I've drafted Lamar Jackson, Baltimore's out. You can't touch him. You can't draft. Can't draft a Baltimore Raven. I get the Raven. I get Lamar Jackson to be on my flag football team. Okay. He is my first pick. He is a no-brainer first pick in the flag football draft. Lamar Jackson is pick number 1. Spencer, you get the next 2 picks.
All right. Well, first one, I'm going to take my Commanders off the board, and we're picking Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is your quarterback. Okay. I like the pick.
I think he could be really good in a flag football team.
I think he's
probably
already
really good in the NFL.
Yeah.
And my second pick, we're going to take the Philadelphia Eagles off the board, and I am picking running back Saquon Barkley.
I thought Saquon might be the first running back. I definitely had him on my draft board.
There were so many places you could go with the Eagles, right? You could have gone Jalen Hurts. You could have gone their wide receivers. Could have gone a rusher.
Yeah.
Defensive back.
Safety. For sure.
But I'm going with Saquon Barkley.
So your first 2 picks, you're going NFC East, rather.
Yes.
And you've got Jaden Daniels, you got your quarterback, and you've got Saquon Barkley. Next 2 picks for me. I am going to go. I'm going to go with the wide receiver I think would be the best of this, and that's Justin Jefferson. So taking Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. And then I am going to take the defensive back I think would be the best at this. And we were just talking about this with Matt Derrick. I'm going to take Trent McDuffie of the Kansas City Chiefs. Because not only can McDuffie be a lockdown corner, but what if he's blitzing too? What if he's a rusher from the outside? You need guys who can get after the quarterback in this flag football, and you need him to do it with speed at angles, and that's Trent McDuffie blitzing as the nickel. So that's my pick. I am going with Trent McDuffie to bolster my defense. I got Justin Jefferson at wide receiver. So my first 3 picks: Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Trent McDuffie. You've got 2 picks.
All right, this is kind of out of left field because I think it'd be we don't know what we know what he was like in college, but we don't know what this guy's gonna be like in the NFL. It is said it's gonna go both ways. So I'm picking Travis Hunter.
Oh, Travis Hunter taking Jacksonville off the board.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great pick, man. I didn't even think of Travis Hunter. I wasn't even thinking about the rookies. Great pick.
Yeah. Now, I think I'm gonna go with my other one. Do I want to do that? This team I'm between 2 guys on a team, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. All right. I am going to go take the Broncos off and pick Patrick Surtain.
Okay. Patrick Surtain the second. He was on my board. He was on my board. I like that. You've really gotten 3 players with those 2 picks.
Yeah.
You've added 3 players because you get Hunter, the ultimate 2-way weapon there. And Patrick Surtain, another top tier cornerback for Team Spencer. All right, 2 picks in a row for me. I'm also going to bolster the defense. You need players again who can excel, put them all over the field, and they could be jack of all trades type players. Bit of a homer pick for me. You took your a commander for your team. I'm taking a Seahawk for mine. I'm taking Devin Witherspoon of the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
Terror off the edge as a blitzer, can also cover, can play a little safety, can do whatever you need on an NFL defense. So I think he'd be an outstanding piece, one of the 5 on defense in flag football. And then I need someone who can run and receive. I'm going to go with the second best receiver. I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals is my next pick. I'm going to go with Jamar.
There goes my pick off.
I snagged him from you, huh?
No, you snagged my team.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I was going to go Hendrickson.
Oh, you're going to trade? That's really interesting because I don't think a big guy would work at all. I don't have any bigs. I don't have any edges. I don't have any linebackers. I don't have anybody like that on my board.
All right. Well, I'm going to go off the beaten path here.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick my center / tight end player.
Okay.
And I'm going to take the 49ers off the board, and we're going to go with George Kittle.
George Kittle. That is fascinating. Again, like you look at the U.S. national team, they got a bunch of dudes who are like 6 feet tall. Like itty bitties. George Kittle, obviously, yeah. There are no linemen. You have the snapper, but you don't have any like linemen in Olympic flag football.
So he's the center snapping the ball, but he's going to run out and run a route.
Sure. Yeah. Impossible to cover with a bunch of 6-footers and below on the other team. That's for sure. Especially if you can't jam him, which is not allowed in flag football.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Who's your next pick?
Ooh. I'm going to take the Cowboys off the board here and pick Micah Parsons as my rusher.
That's fascinating. Again, a lot bigger than most flag football guys. And maybe that's just, if you're big enough, you don't play flag football. You go play in the NFL. And maybe it's a unexplored advantage to be large. But I feel like speed is everything. And I worry about having so many big guys. But hey, it's your team. You've certainly got some star power for sure with your squad so far. Micah Parsons, Dallas off the board. That was not the Cowboy I had. I had 2 other Cowboys on my board that I was thinking about taking. Okay, who's still on the board that I can take? You're leaving me some real dudes on defense. Sauce Gardner of the New York Jets. So the Jets are off the board. So I got Sauce. Going to take him. And then I'm going to take, they probably need a runner here. I'm going to take James Cook of the Bills. James Cook is going to be my pick. Running back who can catch out of the backfield. I'm going to go with James Cook as my next pick here. So Sauce Gardner and James Cook. I'm going up to the Northeast for a couple of my picks, and they add to Team Dan. All right, Spencer, you got the next two picks.
Ooh, I am struggling here. All right, well, I'm gonna make it I'm gonna add to my NFC East in the receiver core. I'm gonna pick Malik Neighbors, take the Giants off the board.
Okay, Malik Neighbors is a good, interesting pick.
And
how big is Malik Neighbors?
I don't know.
I'm just wondering. Yeah, 6 foot. Yeah, he's right around. He's right about that flag football size for a wide receiver.
But hey, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors played really well together in college.
Yes, they did. I like it. Little
pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. Little synergy. All right, who's your next pick?
Ooh, now you get. We haven't done the Falcons yet. I'm gonna go Jesse Bates.
I love that pick, man. That's a good pick. Yeah, you think you need like a safety type of player?
Yeah, I mean, like that's the strategy. Is you gotta like my strategy has always been you gotta have a backer, but then you also that backer is going to need to be flexible, but also you need a safety that can roam. I think Bates can be a roamer.
Oh, absolutely. No, I like that pick. Yeah. I like that pick. Got 3 more here for me. I get the next 2 picks. I'm gonna take a safety type player off the board. I'm going with Budda Baker from Arizona.
Okay.
Budda Baker
he was my second safety there. So
yeah, that's I have another safety on the board yet, but I go with Budda Baker. And then again, speed is a big deal. If you have speed and size, I will take the Steelers, DK Metcalf. I hate how that sounds. Man, he should still be a Seahawk. Oh, that pisses me off so bad. He's not still a Seahawk.
Okay, now I got to do some reevaluating here.
Okay. All right. I've thrown him off.
Because I was just about to pick Patrick Queen.
Oh, interesting. An off-ball linebacker.
I can't now.
No, you can't. That's part of the strategy here.
Do I have 2?
You have 2 left. You have your last 2 picks. Right.
All right. Where am I? Oh, I'm missing over here. All right. So we will go. We'll go. You didn't pick Sauce, did you?
I did.
Okay. You did.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's on the board. We have our big board up on if you're watching on YouTube at 580 Sports Talk, you can see our teams.
I am gonna go. We haven't done Texans yet. I'm gonna go Derrick Stingley.
Okay, Derrick Stingley, another defensive back for you. You got 4 quality defensive backs in that group, and then 1 more pick.
I don't know where to go here because I kind of got screwed over by thinking I'd have Patrick Queen.
Lots of other good off-ball linebackers, but the 2 best I can think of off the top of my head are spoken for. Their teams are spoken for. Can't have Fred Warner because you already took Kittle, and can't have Zach Bond because you already took Saquon.
Yeah, give me here. I should have this pretty much wrapped up here in a second. I just need somebody a little bit younger in my. Can't pick the Chiefs.
Nope, Chiefs are off the board with Trent McDuffie.
All right, I am going to. This guy's a little older, but I'm going to pick him. We haven't picked anybody from the Bucks yet.
No, we have not.
So I'm going to pick Levante David.
Levante David is your last pick. Yeah, you went with some real like size and some bulk. I'm going all like speed and hands, and you say I'm going to overwhelm, like Team China with their 5'7" guys. Or Team Austria. I'm just gonna overwhelm with sheer size and terror.
Yeah,
I don't blame you. So there's your 10. So I got 1 more pick. I have, let's see, I've got McDuffie, Witherspoon, Sauce, and Buda Baker. So I've got 4 true defensive players, and I got 5 offensive players. Kind of feel like I could put one of these guys in, and they could do the job on defense. I'm just going to tell you, I hate that I do not get to take Ladd McConkey here. I took 5 offensive players before I got to Ladd McConkey. I think Ladd McConkey would be awesome. Honest to goodness. Like, you're talking about a wide receiver skill set, just being able to cut you up off the line of scrimmage and dice you. Ladd McConkey's as good at that as anybody. And he's also a little low to the ground, which is beneficial. So I'm going to take one more defensive player. I'm going to get the Lions off the board. I'm going with Kirby Joseph. And the reason I'm going with Kirby Joseph here is because his cousin is actually on the national team. I was doing some digging. I was doing some digging today. Like, who's on the national team? Like, who are these guys? Like, do I know any of these guys? One of them, Jadion High, actually played with Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. But Kirby Joseph's cousin is a guy named Belton Brown Jr., who's actually on the national team, on the flag football national team. So Kirby's got a little flag football knowledge. He knows what it takes. So I'm going for a bit of a hoping that maybe rubs off. So our teams are all set. And if you're watching on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk, you can see the teams as they have. Team Dan, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Trent McDuffie, Devin Witherspoon, Jamar Chase, Sauce Gardner, James Cook, Buda Baker, DK Metcalf, and Kirby Joseph. Team Spencer, Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley, Travis Hunter, Patrick Surtain II, George Kittle, Micah Parsons, Malik Neighbors, Jesse Bates, Derrick Stingley, and Levante David. Who has the better team? Share your thoughts with us in the text line, 785-272-9429. We'll leave the teams up on YouTube during this commercial break. You can let us know whose team you think is. Which players do we leave out? Again, we were constricted by 1 per team. So we have a text from 316 said Christian McCaffrey would have been a good pick. I had McCaffrey on my board. I would have taken him if you hadn't taken George Kittle before I could get to CMC.
Andrew in the YouTube comment says, why not Penei Sewell as your center? He can run routes.
I kind of love that, but I
like no offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's much too big.
Yeah,
he's much too big, I think, for flag football. Text from 785. You didn't pick the guy who said he's better than any NFL player. The actual quarterback, I think his name is Doucette. Darrell or Darnell Doucette is the quarterback for the national team. And he did. He in an interview last year, he said, I think I'm better than Patrick Mahomes because I have more IQ for the sport of flag football. And like he's wrong, but he's also kind of not wrong. It's a different game. It is a different game.
Yeah, I mean, I've played both. A very low level.
Yeah,
but I know it's a vastly different game.
That being said, I would take Patrick Mahomes over Mr. Doucette. I would take that without hesitation.
Mark said BD missing out on the fun.
Oh,
man.
Brendan would have loved this. Brendan would have loved it.
But it also would have been very, very hard.
Yeah, to stick to our
we would have had there would have been 2 teams that didn't have a player picked, and we would have had 30 players from 30 different teams.
Yeah, well, that kind of would have been fun actually to do that. The only players that would have still been eligible on my board that weren't drafted were Ladd McConkey, and somehow we got through this exercise, didn't draft Tyreek Hill, who might have been him or Jalen Waddle. Probably would have been better wide receiver fits than any of the guys. Maybe DK Metcalf. Maybe if I could redo it again. But anyway, those are our teams. Let us know what you think. The text line 785-272-9429. We'll take a break. We'll come back. What is wrong with you is next on 580 Sports Talk. It is time for What is Wrong with You on 580 Sports Talk. What is Wrong with You? Brought to you by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. When it comes to insurance financial services, Mo knows. Give him a call, 785-273-1572. Let us get to what is wrong with you and try and crown a weekly champion today. But first, a quick update on a previous story. I had forgotten about this one. The guy who was pretending to be the bar rescue guy.
Yeah, I was looking for stories yesterday, and it popped up, and I said, oh my God, we did that last year.
Right. And John Taffer sued this guy, Vic Caroleo, who's been running around Florida bars pretending to be John Taffer. And apparently the guy's still doing it, so John Taffer sued him again. Taffer alleges that Caroleo is also committing sexually inappropriate and abusive acts against women while using his name. So, yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah, using his name as to be a bad guy. Not good.
Yeah, that's he's not rescuing anything. Anyhow, that's a previous story. Our current weekly champion, a dead man, a hog farm, a nun, and a good bottle of bourbon. The guy who wanted the baby daddy of his current girlfriend dead as soon as he came out of prison. So he was going to borrow a van from a nun and get a guy to help him kill the guy and bury him in a hog farm where he expected that pigs would eat him. And obviously none of those things happened because everybody who said they were going to help this guy do this murder was actually an informant. Because, say it with me again, folks, nobody wants to help you do crimes, especially not anybody you don't know. If somebody you don't know and have never met is like, yeah, I'll help you kill that person. No, they won't. You will go to prison. Just, I wanted to let that sit there so that you know. Anyway, 2 news stories today. Spencer, why don't you go first?
Yes, we're going to go to Florida. A convicted felon who engaged in the hot chip challenge. I don't know if you know what that is, Dan.
Yeah, I remember the hot chip challenge.
Okay. He's behind bars and charged with violating his parole by swigging a bottle of beer, quote, due to the chip being so hot, according to court records. Darren Delikes, I believe is his name, 36, was arrested yesterday for allegedly violating parole terms that bar him from using or possessing alcohol or frequenting an establishment where the primary purpose is the sale of alcohol. The parole conditions were part of his sentencing in Colorado in connection with a felony stalking conviction. So we already know, not a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in Florida, where he was busted yesterday during a meeting with his probation officers who had reviewed a video of him showing him, quote, with a Corona in his hand, and they're saying he's a risk to himself and others when he uses alcohol. According to the video, the video was shot in late March. He was doing the hot chip challenge. He admitted to taking a swig of Corona due to the chip being so hot. Court records don't indicate how probation officers learned of the video, though there was social media accounts and phones are supervised or they're reviewed when somebody's under probation.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, instead of going for milk, he went for beer.
Bad move.
And took a video of it.
Yeah, that bad move. Like, I understand, like, oh, yeah, we're going to take video of this guy doing the hot chip challenge because he can't handle it because nobody can handle it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, that's a bad move. Like,
also,
you can't go water, bad plan.
Yeah.
Beer,
horrible
plan. Like, you got to have milk on deck. Like, if you're going to do this, like, if I was ever going to do this, and I'm not, I am absolutely not ever going to do this one chip challenge. But I'd have a glass of milk on deck right there, like bowl of ice cream, the whole thing. I'd be ready to rock with the dairy to cool my tongue down. And this guy roll because he went for the beer, went for the Corona.
He also is clearly not a smart guy because he was cited earlier this month for violating his parole requirement of carrying his tracking device.
How about that?
Yeah. And he has his rap sheet includes cocaine sales, grand theft, credit card fraud, heroin possession, cocaine possession, theft, burglary, and violating domestic violence protection order. He was actually set for his parole termination date in late 2026. So he only had like 16, 18 months left on this parole. Like, that's tough. But now he's going back to prison.
All right. Story for me. We go to Cambria County, Pennsylvania, and the what is wrong with you part of this has actually since been overturned. But East Taylor Township Police say that Conemaugh Valley High School students, 6 of them, were initially charged with felony burglary for a senior prank. They reportedly set off an alarm early Thursday morning. The students admitted to the responding officer and a district representative that they planned to place plastic wrap throughout the building as part of their prank. Now, the problem they had here was it was only 6 of them. I don't know how big Conemaugh Valley High School is, but there's only 6 seniors involved. The thing with the senior prank, especially if you're going to do something that is questionably legal, you have to get everybody involved, right? Because why? They can't suspend all of you. They can't suspend us all. They can suspend 6 of you. They can keep 6 of you from walking on graduation, but if it's everybody, they can't do it. So you got to have everybody involved. It can't just be 6 people. It's got to be everybody. Anyway, it was 6 people. Then we're going to wrap their plastic wrap all through the building, but they set off an alarm, and the district representative wanted them charged with felony burglary for a senior prank. Thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. Cambria County District Attorney Greg Neubauer says all charges have been withdrawn. The school reportedly plans to discipline the students internally. 2 things you can learn here. Number 1, obviously, I mean, try not to break any law or even questionable law when you're doing a senior prank. But number 2, got to be a group effort. Got to be everybody.
Yeah.
Because they can't suspend all of you, but they will go after 6 of you. Anyway, I go the hot chip guy to win the day, but I still don't think that beats the guy who was going to feed his romantic rival to pigs and thought that he could trust this hog farmer he'd never met.
Yeah, no.
Just happened to be an FBI informant. So that's going to be our weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You, sponsored by State Farm Agent Ryan Mo Winkle. We'll take a break on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, who are some players that the Royals should be targeting if the trade market opens early in Major League Baseball? We'll tell you who next. .447 on 580 Sports Talk. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday afternoon. We're with you until 6 o'clock, then a little overtime prior to Royals baseball. Pre-game coverage on the Royals Baseball Network at 6:30. First pitch, 7:10 from Target Field in the Twin Cities as the Royals and the Twins open up a 3-game AL Central Series. Noah Cameron on the hill for Kansas City. Pablo Lopez, Royal killer on the bump for the Twins. We'll get into more of that in the 5 o'clock hour. MLB.com had an article up today, 6 teams that could jumpstart the trade market. Mark Feinsand of MLB.com reporting. And even if you only follow baseball a little bit, you could probably pick out that the 6 teams involved are teams that are well back of first place. In fact, they are the 6 teams that are the furthest back from first place of any teams in baseball. They are the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies are 18 games out of 4th place. That's how things are going for them. Worst start since 1895. They're 8-42.
They got the Sports Center or ESPN X post today that they could be the worst team in Major League Baseball ever.
No, could be. They're going to lose 130 games.
Yeah.
Good news for them is the schedule lightens up. They got the Yankees this weekend. Anyhow, the Rockies are one of the teams, along with the White Sox, who are 15-35, 17 and a half games behind Detroit. The Orioles, who are 16-32, 13 and a half games behind the Yankees. The Pirates, they're 17-34, 13 and a half games behind the Cubs. The Marlins are 19-29, 12 back of Philadelphia. And the Nationals are 23-27, but they are still 9 games back of first place in the East. So of those 6 teams, I was going through the rosters and trying to figure out who makes sense for the Royals from that talent pool of players that those teams would be willing to move, like realistically willing to move. Like, oh, the Pirates, yeah, the Royals should go get Paul Skeens. Yeah, no duh. Every team should go get Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens isn't for sale yet.
Everybody that I know is that on Facebook is falling for like these fake posts about, oh, Pirates and Mariners setting up franchise-altering trade with Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens is not getting traded this year.
Exactly.
Maybe in a year or two that happens, but if they traded him this year, nobody would go to Pirates games. Yeah. I'm not exaggerating. You want to talk about a rupture between the fan base and the ownership? That's what's happening in Pittsburgh. It's actually really sad, but they can't trade Skeens. That's not happening. Also, the Orioles aren't trading like Adley Rutschman or Jackson Holiday. They're not trading those guys. The Nationals aren't trading James Wood or Dylan Cruz or Mackenzie Gore. But these other teams, they trade anybody not nailed down, like the Marlins and the Rockies and the White Sox would trade anybody not nailed down. Problem is, they don't have a lot of really good players. Like, I didn't have any Marlins on my list. Like, Sandy Alcantara is the one guy that could move, but he's been terrible this year. And you're kind of gambling on him rediscovering his form the year after Tommy John surgery, when typically it takes a year after that for pitchers to really return to their peak best. And Alcantara's peak best is awesome, but he's not going to get there. So guys from those teams that make sense. For me, I picked out 6. Cedric Mullins is the dream. Cedric Mullins is the guy. Center field, having a really nice year, hitting for power. Last year before free agency, he's not going to cost a lot of money. It'd be a rental. He would absolutely be an upgrade over Kyle Isbell. Cedric Mullins is the dream. The secondary dream is Ryan O'Hearn, which is extremely funny given Ryan O'Hearn's career path, but bring him home. We've seen him have success in Kansas City. It was fleeting. He was really bad after his debut season, but we've seen him have success and hit well in Kansas City. He's a different hitter now. He can play right field, and he can stand in right field and hold a glove. I'm not going to say that he's a particularly stellar defensive outfielder, but he can do it. You can stick him out there and live with the consequences. Ryan O'Hearn and Cedric Mullins, you're probably not prying both of them, but they are both free agents after this season, and both of them would be rentals, and so it would cost a little less than a guy who's under some team control. Another guy who would be a rental from Baltimore, Gregory Soto, left-handed reliever. I said the other day that the Royals, I think, need a left-handed reliever who can miss some bats. Maybe Evan Sisk is that guy, but Gregory Soto, he's been an all-star before, 17 strikeouts in 16 2/3 innings, carrying a 3.78 ERA, hasn't allowed a home run this year, power stuff, power sinker. I like him as a veteran left-hander out of the bullpen. If I were JJ Piccolo, I would be stalker calling Mike Elias. I would call him every day until he agreed to make a trade with me. Those 3 guys from Baltimore. I have 3 other guys from other teams. Caleb Ferguson from the Pirates is another left-handed reliever. Had a track record of success in his career, mostly with the Dodgers. Kicked around a little bit last year between New York and Houston. He's with Pittsburgh this year. 4.22 ERA, but he has not allowed a home run from the left side. Career strikeout rate of 10.5 per 9. He's not missing bats like that this year. But on the flip side, he plays for the Pirates. You can get him into a team that knows what he's doing. He could see that strikeout rate spring right back up. Two other names. They're both position players. The Rockies' third baseman, Ryan McMahon, steady player, hits for a little power, not going to hit for a high average. He's had a tough start to this season, but again, I think you get him on a real team, he could bounce back, and he's a Gold Glove caliber defender at third base. Would give you some flexibility to move Maikel Garcia to second base, get Michael Massey out of the lineup. Ahmed Rosario from the Nationals had a game-winning hit last night.
Yeah, he just doesn't play very often.
They should showcase him.
Like his last 3 games, 5-14, 5-15, and then last night.
Yeah, he's taking a little time off, I guess, but he's hitting 305.
Yeah.
Played every position on the infield, has played left field and right field in his career. Not a great hitter, but somebody who gives you some options as a right-handed hitter who can play all over the diamond. He'd be a nice veteran utility piece with some familiarity with the Central from all his years as a Cleveland Guardian. So those are 6 names to watch. Those are 6 names I'd be making calls on.
Definitely not the guy the Nats thought they would be trading.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they thought it'd be Josh Bell.
They still have Josh Bell.
Yeah, so it's funny. Robert Hassel, who was part of the Juan Soto Josh Bell trade, just made his debut.
I saw that.
And the Nats now have like 3/4. They have all the guys up, except for Susana, who's like their number 1 pitching prospect,
right?
And then Luke Voigt, who came in the deal. But then they also have with Soto. Josh Bell.
They still have Josh.
Sucks this year.
Yeah, he's hitting $156.
So bad.
Yeah, Royals don't need that. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this hour with Change My Mind. This is going to have to be quick. Change my mind here on 580 Sports Talk. And since sometimes you get bumped out of this segment, Spencer, I'm going to let you go today. You don't have one? You're good?
No, I thought that was in the first hour.
Assumed. Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Because it was set to be in the first hour.
No, understand. We moved it. All right. Change my mind. Nick Lofton should get 2 starts at second base this weekend.
Why not, dude? He's hitting 295 in AAA this year. I think maybe he needed to go down and learn how to hit again, I guess.
Get some confidence.
Yeah, give himself some confidence, and why not? I think that you bring him up for a reason. You don't want him to sit on the bench if you bring him up, right? Like if you bring a guy up, the purpose is for them to play.
Yeah, let's see if he can be somebody who gets on base and doesn't make so many outs. Royals have a lot of out makers in their lineup right now. Lofton has been the opposite of that down at AAA. I'd like to see him get an opportunity. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, headlines, including a playoff roundup, and we're going to talk Royals Twins, We're also going to recap the Weenie 500 on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Friday. Final hour of the day, final hour of the week for 580 Sports Talk on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and live on our YouTube channel. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. You can also catch us on our Facebook stream, WIBW News. Lots of ways to catch the show. Appreciate you being with us. If you've been hanging out with us throughout the Friday, if you're just joining us, welcome in. Never too late to the party. We appreciate you being along. For 580 Sports Talk, Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you. Brendan Dworzinski off again today. He'll be back when we return from our 3-day weekend on Tuesday. No show on Monday. Even if we were dying to do one on a holiday, the Royals are playing smack dab in the middle of our show. So wouldn't have a show anyhow. So we're going to take that Monday off. We'll be back with you on Tuesday. But we've got one more hour to get to here, plus a little overtime before Royals baseball. Again, we'll pass the baton at 6:30 for pregame coverage as the Royals and Twins face off at Target Field in Minneapolis. First of a 3-game set this weekend. First pitch set for 7:10. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit here on this final hour of the show. We'll also get into the sporting spectacle of the day. Really the top sports story of the day. Well, second biggest sports story of the day. Biggest sports story of the day was Hunter Renfroe got DFA'd. That's why we led the show with it. And everybody is talking about it. They're talking about it on all the shows. All the shows. They even broke into CNN to report that Hunter Renfroe was DFA'd by the Royals. But the second biggest sports story of the day is that they ran 6 Wienermobiles at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 2 laps.
That topped out at
60 miles an hour.
Was it 60 or 40?
60. It was 60, according to the announcers.
And I think it was rigged.
Oh, yes. Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're gonna
funny to watch. It, definitely a lot of
innuendo. Yes. The announcers, yes.
And they led into that a lot.
They did. It's on YouTube. If you missed the Weenie 500, you can go watch it on Fox Sports YouTube. That's where I watched. I watched it live on YouTube. It was ridiculous. Like, you really don't understand, like, the difference between how fast a race car goes and how fast just like a regular old vehicle goes until you like drop the green flag and these things are taking off as best they can at 60 miles an hour.
I mean, have you ever seen one in person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did we not talk about this? I've been inside a Wienermobile.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe we did. I've taken a picture outside of one.
I've been inside the Wienermobile. It was in Wichita. I got to be inside the Wienermobile. Very cool.
Yeah. They're freaking tanks.
Yes, they're huge. And they're very, very swank inside too. Really, really nice. But anyway, we're gonna talk about we're gonna have the debate. Was it rigged? Because Spencer thinks it was, and I don't think it was. So we're gonna have the debate a little bit later on in the hour. But we've got a lot of 580 Sports Talk headlines to get to today, so why don't we jump into those? Do want to hear from you throughout the hour. The text line is open, 785-272-9429. Can also interact in the YouTube comments if you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We'd love to hear from you this final hour of the day here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get into these headlines. We'll start with the local stuff. Hyper-local. How about this? From Washburn Athletics, semifinal sweep sends number 9 Ichabod's to national championship. The Washburn men's tennis team swept UT Tyler this morning in Altamonte Springs, Florida, and they will play for the first national championship in program history on Saturday. The 4-0 sweep for the Ichabods on the hard courts, and they will take on the number 1 team in the country, Valdosta State, tomorrow afternoon, right at high noon, for the national championship. Washburn men's tennis having an incredible year, quite a run to this national final. Won't be easy to take on the number 1 team in the country, but Washburn has earned the opportunity, and that is really, really cool stuff. Also, this is not a headline. I just feel like you all need to know this. So I'm looking at the Valdosta State men's tennis roster. I have a gentleman from Lima, Peru, and his name is Takeshi Taco. Taco.
I think that distract a lot of people.
Takeshi Taco, who actually won the ITA's Arthur Ashe Leadership and Sportsmanship Award this year. So, good player, good guy, Takeshi Taco. But back when they used to do the Name of the Year tournament, the Name of the Year bracket, we used to have so much fun with that on the show. There was one year there was a name on the Name of the Year bracket that we were not sure that we could say, but it was a young woman's name, and we weren't sure we could say it on the air. We knew we couldn't say it without completely being derailed and crying laughing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you off the air what it was.
I mean, technically, it's somebody's name, so technically you can say it.
That's true.
Because you can send them the tape. We are reading off this name.
That's true.
Send them the copy of the name.
But anyway, if they still did the Name of the Year on the internet, Takeshi Taco would be a really strong contender. Anyway, so congratulations, Washburn men's tennis. They're playing for the Natty tomorrow in Florida. Also from Washburn Athletics, Washburn men's basketball will open their 2025-26 season at the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame Classic, November 1st through the 2nd in Lakeland, Florida. This is an event that's been going on for the last 7 years, and Washburn, coming off of their Final Four trip last year, has been invited for the first time. They will play Augusta and Dallas Baptist at the tournament. Dallas Baptist also made the Elite Eight last year. They lost to Cal State Dominguez Hills in the Elite Eight round, and Augusta made the Southeast Regional. I believe that's Augusta from Georgia. So they are also making their first appearance in the event. Dallas Baptist is making their second appearance. But that's how Washburn's season will start next year at the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame Classic, November 1st through the 2nd in Lakeland, Florida. I wonder if Brendan knows that he's got himself a trip to Florida coming up for Ichabod basketball next season.
Or do you? Or who? Who knows?
Wait a second. Let me look at that football schedule.
At Missouri Western State.
Yeah, football's still playing. That's right. Yeah, somebody's got to go to Florida. Somebody's got to call those games.
I volunteer as tribute.
I'll bet you do. Anyhow, probably shouldn't make those decisions on the air without Brendan present. But anyway, very, very cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff for Washburn men's basketball. And one other local note we should get to, because she flies the flag for Topeka, Kansas so proudly, and Nyjah Kennedy is heading back to the College World Series with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. She beat Florida State.
Yeah.
2-0 in their super regional in Tallahassee. Texas Tech was the lower seeded team, and Nyjah Kennedy beat them herself. Shut them out last night and hit a home run, allowed a run today. What was the final of today's game? Did you happen to see?
I did not.
Well, they won.
Oh, it was 2-1.
2-1. So, yeah, the Nyjah Kennedy show is heading back to Oklahoma City for another Women's College World Series after, of course, she appeared there the last 2 years as a member of the Stanford team. This year, she and the Red Raiders are heading back. This is the first ever Women's College World Series appearance for Texas Tech, who, if you remember, spent $1 million in NIL money to bring Nyjah to Lubbock. I'd say that was money well spent. Congrats to Nyjah. Congrats to the Red Raiders.
Also, she is once again up for the USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Year.
We did mention that earlier this week. Yeah, that she's up for the Player of the Year. So
she's gonna be there and get it potentially,
which I think she did last year as well.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Always a cool thing.
Next headline, Spencer, you've got some KU nuggets to give us.
Yes, we're going to start first with postseason baseball from the Big 12 Baseball Championship Tournament. Kansas roars back to walk off Oklahoma State in the quarterfinals. Mike, is it Kozlowski?
It is Kazuski.
Kazuski.
Yeah.
Hits a game-winning hit in the ninth as KU wins 7-6. They're going to take on TCU, who knocked off Houston last night. They're going to take them on tonight in a semifinal at 7:30. Is there basketball on tonight?
Yeah. No, the conference, it's the Eastern Conference Final, so that's on TNT. Maybe it's hockey.
Yeah,
is it
something's
hockey
on tonight because they're preempting them to ESPN Plus.
Yeah, everything's on the Plus tonight.
West Virginia and University of, why am I blanking on UA?
Arizona.
Arizona, yes. is the other
all right.
semifinals game. I believe, is that one going on now or later?
That should be going on right now. It looks like the score of that one is you're not gonna give me a live score. You're gonna make me just turn on the game on TV. Come on, Big 12. Cut me some slack, man. I can't find the live stats. The heck with it. Go ahead, and it's the 7 o'clock first pitch scheduled for KU as they try to reach
7 or 7:30
conference title. 7:30. It is 7:30. Yeah.
The other one, this coming down earlier today, but if you listen to 580 Sports Talk this week, Michael Swain, our insider there, who works at fog.net and 24/7 Sports, he indicated this could be happening. Kansas reaches up into Michigan once again. They land a coveted high school running back, Corey Kamatri, I believe is how you say his name.
I think it's Amakri.
Amatri. Okay.
Yeah, there's no C at the beginning.
He will come in 2026. He's a 3-star. He's a top 15 player in the state of Michigan as they continue to build up that 2026 freshman recruiting class.
Yeah, the Lance Leipold and his staff have done a fabulous job in recruiting.
As it sits right now, they're 8th nationally in the 2026 class based on commits.
There's not a consensus on again, and I apologize if this is incorrect. Amakri, he is a 4-star according to On3 Rivals. He's a 3-star according to 24/7. But he has a long-standing relationship with Terrence Samuel, who played with Amakri's dad at Michigan State. So even though Amakri's a Michigan State legacy, and it was long assumed he was going to follow his dad's footsteps and be a Spartan, KU really made a strong move for Amakri, and were rewarded today as he signed on the dotted line. Michael Swain was in Michigan for this one. He was there. He was present, which tells you that it was pretty well known by the time pen was put to paper that Amakri was heading to Lawrence.
I mean, he basically told us that it was going to happen when he was on the air on Tuesday.
Yeah, he gave us
without saying it was happening, that he was committing here. He basically said that it was going to happen.
So that's a big deal. The comparison that some have used as far as a former KU player, some suggest it's kind of like a Khalil Herbert skill set. Of course, Khalil Herbert had a very promising start to his college career at KU before he transferred to Virginia Tech and has been a longtime NFL running back. So this is a big deal. It's a big pickup, and Lance Leipold and company continue to do a really, really nice job on the recruiting front. Next headline. We'll do the Doug Gottlieb nonsense. We'll hold that for a second. Let's do this one. This is actually, though, something you heard on a station out of Washington, D.C. So I'm going to pass the ball back to you, Spencer. You give us this headline from Mike Florio.
Yes, so Mike Florio, frequent guest on the Grant and Danny show on 106.7 The Fan out of D.C. And they have him on, I'd say probably every few months, especially around, the draft or around free agency meetings, things like that. And there's about a minute sound clip here that I want to play, and it is basically Mike Florio confirming that the league recruited teams to propose a tush-push ban and a playoff reseeding rule, one of which was actually rescinded by the Lions, the other of which failed for the Packers. That was the clip there, Mike Florio and on 106.7 The Fan in DC. So it's interesting.
Yeah, usually the commissioner doesn't use those power struggles. But
Yeah.
the flip side of that, I think it was Diana Rossini that had this anonymous quote from a source within the league. People don't like being told how to vote.
That's true.
This is as true when it comes to the NFL owners meeting as it is true in any other instance where there is voting happening. People don't love being coerced, being told how to vote. They like to be able to draw their own conclusions. And apparently there were some owners that felt like they were being pushed, no pun intended, to vote to ban the Eagles quarterback sneak. And ultimately, there were enough votes to decide to not ban it. The Chiefs were one of the 22 teams, by the way, that did vote to ban the play. That Matt Derrick let us know that, confirmed that for us when we had him on earlier this afternoon here on 580 Sports Talk. But yeah, it is very rare that what Roger Goodell wants that he does not get. And I know he lobbied very firmly for both of those rule changes and didn't get either of them. The consolation is they're all going to vote for him to keep his job and get an extension and a raise. So
I think you'd rather have that.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
In the end.
He'll be all right. He might have lost a little power struggle, but he'll win the war. Anyhow, let's do another headline. This from ESPN. Green Bay files waiver to play in the basketball tournament. Not the Packers. No, this is the Green Bay Phoenix, who have filed for a waiver from the NCAA to allow their men's basketball team to compete in the basketball tournament. You may be familiar with this, TBT. It's the $1 million winner-take-all summer tournament that features many high-profile college alumni teams, that being the operative word, alumni, and active professional players. The waiver request acknowledges that TBT is not certified by the NCAA and does not fall within legislated exceptions, but makes the case it is a suitable replacement for a foreign tour, which college programs have permission once every 4 years to go play overseas. Doug Gottlieb is the head coach of the Green Bay Phoenix. You might have forgotten that. Probably you didn't. Somehow he has made it to a year two after year one was a national embarrassment. Gottlieb, quoted by ESPN, is saying, when you play overseas, these teams that go to France, Spain, Belgium, whatever, those aren't NCAA-sanctioned games. So the NCAA's argument is, in summer competition, you can't play these games in the U.S. They're not NCAA-sanctioned. So if I play this exact game 3 hours north of here in Canada, it'd be okay. That doesn't make sense. Green Bay Athletic Director Josh Moon, in arguing for it, says, let's not worry about the prize money right now. That could go to a charity. Just let us play. It's really about our team and trying to give them opportunities. You know what?
This smells like to me that they couldn't afford an overseas trip.
Well, yes, 100%. That is part of it, too. Yeah. The other part of it is Doug Gottlieb craves attention.
He wants to do a show live from the TBT.
Yeah, he wants to, this is all about getting his program in the news. This is all about having us in Topeka, Kansas, wondering, hey, what's going on with Green Bay Phoenix basketball? By the way, they went 4-28 last year. Just in case you thought I was exaggerating when I said they were a national embarrassment, they went 4-28 last season.
They also did the same thing last year, but nobody really knew about it.
Right. The CEO of the TBT is a guy named John Mugar, and he says that they have communicated with roughly 10 college programs in the past year with varying degrees of interest in participating. He said, quote, the idea of undergraduate teams or student athletes participating and competing against retired players or current pros overseas or any number of other types of teams that we get is really appealing to us. We have a long track record of working with and partnering with universities through alumni teams, and now it makes a lot of sense to do that through their actual team. So the organizers of the TBT aren't going to stand in Green Bay's way. It will be whether or not the NCAA decides to make an exception here for Doug Gottlieb. Either way, I feel like this is all for attention. And what happens if they enter this tournament and they lose in the first round? I don't know that they would, but they went 4-28 last year, man. If they run, if these, and the idea of, okay, you go on a foreign trip. This is where it's different. You go on a foreign trip like KU's done. K-State went to Israel, I think it was, not last year, maybe the year before, that they went to Israel. KU goes on one every 4 years. I remember they went to Italy. They went to Puerto Rico. I think it was not last year, but the year before. But bigger programs, the Power 5 programs, they take advantage of the chance to go overseas. They take advantage of this rule. They play a bunch of games. Like, they play 3 games. If Green Bay gets in this tournament and they run into a team full of overseas pros, they're going to lose.
Overseas elite.
And they're going to lose, and they're going to be done. You get 1 game. Is that all worth it? Is it all worth it to try this for 1 game? Because that's all you're getting, because your team stinks.
Yeah.
They went 4-28. You're recruiting 28-year-olds. They've signed a guy who's 28 who's going to play for them next year. It's ridiculous. Every part of this is a publicity stunt on Doug Gottlieb's part and on the part of the University of Wisconsin Green Bay. And it's just embarrassing for everybody. And the sooner this ends, the better it is for everybody.
The only reason I would ever think this is acceptable is if they hosted the thing. Like, if it was
even then, you 1 game. The idea behind these tours is you play a bunch of games. You play 1 game in this and lose. It could be just 1 game. It could be a bunch. It could be 6? I think it's a 64-team tournament. But it's probably going to be 1 because, again, you went 4-28 last year. You bum. I don't know. I have so little respect for Doug Gottlieb. Infinitesimally small amount of respect for him. Let's go ahead and do the playoff roundup to round up our 580 Sports Talk headlines for this Friday.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
A couple of teams kind of already look like they're going to go out sad in these conference finals we're having. First, in the NHL, make it 14 consecutive conference finals losses for Carolina. They got rolled 5-0 by the Panthers on their home ice last night. So Florida's up in that series, 2-0. Series moves to Florida for the next 2 games. If history is any indication, it ain't going back to Carolina. Tonight, Game 2 in the Western Conference Finals. Stars lead that series 1-0 over the Oilers. Game 2 tonight in Dallas. Last night in the NBA, another third-quarter blitz from the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just have another gear. I have spoken disparagingly about the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I will continue to do so. Don't get me wrong. They are unpleasant to watch play, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is singularly unpleasant to watch play, to the point where Jaden McDaniels, 1 point last night, just shoved him. They got tangled up, and SGA hooked McDaniels, hooked his arm, and there was no foul. So when they got bumped again and the whistle blew, McDaniels just shoved him. Yeah. And then said after the game, I just wanted to foul him for real, because the implication being that he gets a bunch of fouls called that aren't real fouls. And I agree. And instead of getting a flagrant foul, you know what Jaden McDaniels should have gotten? A medal of honor for doing that to SGA. Anyhow, they are so unpleasant to watch play, but I will speak what is the word I'm looking for? Admiringly, I think.
Not admirably?
Well, I will speak admiringly. I will say that this is admirable about the Thunder. They have a gear nobody else can get to. When they start forcing turnovers and getting out and running, they just have a 5th gear nobody else left in the playoffs has. And they hit that 5th gear, and Minnesota sure doesn't have that gear. Oklahoma City wins last night, 118-103. They take a 2-0 series lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves, whose star Anthony Edwards must have thought the assembled media were his illegitimate children, the way he avoided seeing them after the game. Tonight, the Knicks try to recover from their Game 1 collapse against the Indiana Pacers, Game 2 of that Eastern Conference Finals at Madison Square Garden. We will take a break. When we come back, we will break down the Weenie 500. Was it rigged? You decide. We will present our cases in favor and against the rigging of the Weenie 500. But also, I want to give away a pair of tickets to the Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo in Strong City. So if you're caller number 2 to 785-272-9429 during this commercial break, 785-272-9429, I'm going to send you to the rodeo, the Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo, May 30th in Strong City. Be caller number 2 to 785-272-9429, and we'll be back with more sports talk after this. All right, 533 on 580 Sports Talk. We're going to get to the Weenie 500 in a second. I got a question. And you long-time Topekans got to help me out on this, because I was talking about this. My wife and I had a disagreement last night on this. Spencer, you have the rundown open, correct? On the you've got the Google Doc open.
Yes, I
with
do.
the show up. Okay, I am going to type the name of one of the Great Life golf courses. There are obviously 5 outstanding golf courses at Great Life. I'm an all-inclusive member. You should be too. I played golf earlier this week at one of the courses. And
Okay.
I'm going to type the name of the course, okay?
And you want me to read it?
And I want you to pronounce it the way you would naturally pronounce the name of this golf course.
All right.
Do you see where I have typed it?
Yes.
I'm going to make it big for you. How do you pronounce that?
Berkshire?
Okay. You're on Team Abby. You're on my wife's team. I pronounce it Berkshire. When you call their pro shop, it says Great Life Berkshire. The Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway. It's spelled the exact same way. But
Isn't it Berkshire Hathaway?
No, it's Berkshire. It's Berkshire. You watch a commercial, watch a TV commercial for them. It's Berkshire Hathaway. So what I want to know from you,
pronounced it wrong.
I want to know from you listeners. Text the show, 785-272-9429, or jump in the YouTube comments. Berkshire or Berkshire? I need you to settle this. This is very important. This is the most important thing of the week. Text the show, 785-272-9429, or jump in the YouTube comments on 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, our YouTube channel. Berkshire or Berkshire? Who's right, me or my wife? Because, call the pro shop, and it says Berkshire. And Abby goes, that's a robot. That doesn't count. I said, what do you mean it doesn't count? You can train a robot to say it how you want to say it. And she says, my wife is lived here all her life. Grew up in Meriden, lived here all her life. Says she has never heard anyone call it Berkshire. Everybody she's ever known has called that golf course, that country club, Berkshire. And I said Berkshire. So am I the out of towner here? Am I the city slicker that doesn't know what I'm talking about? Or am I right? Help me out. I'm begging you. Berkshire or Berkshire? Which one is it for you folks? Again, the text line is open, 785-272-9429. The Weenie 500 took place earlier today. We joked about this on the show earlier this week.
Yeah.
6 Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles ran a 2-lap race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Part of the weekend festivities for the granddaddy of them all, the Indy 500, which takes place on Sunday. Memorial Day weekend every year. 6 hot dogs on wheels.
Yes.
At speeds of 60 miles an hour. Top speeds.
Topping out at 60 miles.
Yeah, top speeds of 60 miles an hour. Ran 5 miles, which is 2 laps on the 2.5 mile track. It was a thrilling finish in the end. It looked like the Chicago dog, which was referred to as the shy dog, and which the English announcer kept calling the chi dog, which was very funny until somebody got in his ear and told him it's not the chi dog, and he was calling it the chai dog, which was closer, was still not quite right. Anyway, the shy dog, the Chicago dog, very nearly had it, but a late push from the number 3, the slaw dog, was enough to edge out the shy dog and win the inaugural Weenie 500. And Spencer, you don't think it was on the level?
No, I watched the final clip, and it was almost like it was rigged, right?
You feel like it was rigged?
I feel like somebody put a little nitrous burst at the end. Like, how could they all be going 60 and all of a sudden this guy comes out of nowhere and takes over?
You don't believe that the power of the Weenie draft is enough to slingshot past?
Heck no. I think somebody put a little nitrous in there, a little dirty stuff.
You think there was cheating afoot? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Here's my
it's a slaw dog.
Here's my rejoinder.
Right?
Yes, the slaw dog. Here's my rejoinder to this. If they were going to fix the Weenie 500, they're not going to fix it for the slaw dog. Like, nobody eats the slaw dog. Who eats slaw on hot dogs? That's gross. That is a disgusting concept. Nobody is. It's the same as people who say, well, the NFL is rigged for the Chiefs. The NFL is rigged to benefit
What
a
if
team.
the person driving the slaw dog wiener rigged it themselves?
Oh, you're accusing them of cheating in the car. You're accusing some in-car shenanigans, some under-the-hood shenanigans.
Yeah.
Not that the race itself was rigged for dramatic effect. You think the slaw dog was souped up.
Yeah.
You think that we? Oh, wow. Now, that is not an angle I had considered. Because I saw people on social media who were saying, no, the race is rigged for sure. The race was rigged, and they rigged it for excitement. And they made sure that there was a photo finish at the end, an exciting finish at the end. And I said, they're not going to rig the race for the slaw dog because nobody eats slaw on hot dogs. It's a disgusting idea. It's mortifying. Coleslaw on hot dogs? Come on. They would not. It's like the idea of rigging the NFL for a team in Kansas City. No. If the NFL is going to rig the NFL, they would rig it for somebody in a big market. They would rig the NFL for the Giants or the Jets or a team in Los Angeles. Then they'd rig it for a team with an international fan base like the Packers or the Cowboys. If the NFL was rigged, the Cowboys would win every year because they're the most popular team and they're the one everybody wants to talk about. If the NFL was rigged, the Cowboys would have made an NFC championship game at least once since 1996. So it's not rigged, okay? And neither was the Weenie 500. It was on the level, except maybe under the hood of the slaw dog. You don't really believe that the drafting makes a difference at that point.
Heck no. Not at 60 miles an hour.
Jeffrey said they should have raced 10 laps instead of 2. I think we would have seen a little bit more paint trading.
Do you know how long that would have taken, though?
Yeah. No, I didn't have it in me. I mean, I barely got through the first lap. Once they started going, you realize how slow they're going. And like, I don't know if I can watch this whole thing, man. And what's going to, because you feel like nothing's going to happen. But then, man, off of turn 2, you saw some action. And then the Sonoran dog.
You saw out of the back straightaway. The back stretch.
Yeah.
They couldn't make any mistakes.
The Sonoran dog started smoking. We had some smoked meats there on the back stretch. It was hysterical. Instead of singing the
national anthem?
They did the Oscar Mayer Wiener song instead. It was so funny. The race could have been a little more entertaining. Maybe next year they should. They should rig the race. But the slaw dog, I guess, the king. 3's up for the 3-car, the slaw dog, our champion of the Weenie 500. We'll take a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. Berkshire or Berkshire? Please tell me. 785-272-9429. Also, another pair of tickets up for grabs for the Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo in Strong City. I'm feeling generous. I'm going to give away another pair of tickets. Fastest fingers, 785-272-9429. If you're the first caller, you get the ticket, 785-272-9429. We'll talk some Royals baseball, preview their series against the Twins on the other side of this break on 580 Sports Talk. Couple of ticket winners today, Edward and Dallas. Congratulations. You guys are going to the Strong City to go see the Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo on May 30th.
Week from today.
Yeah, that's right. Week from today. A cool event comes every year to the Strong City Arena. We do have a little support for Team Dan on the pronunciation of Berkshire here in the capital city. Mark says it's on my side. Jeffrey says Dan's right. It's not pronounced Shire, more like sure. Christopher is on my wife's side. Said I've heard it called Shire with a long I by somebody who worked there. Maybe there's not a right answer, but
Tomato.
It might be a tomato kind of thing. It really might be. But I had to ask because my wife would not believe it. Would not. I walked in with my phone and I called their pro shop at like 9:00 at night because I knew I'd get the answering machine. And she heard it. She said, no. It was hysterical. Anyhow, appreciate everybody weighing in. Royals tonight, Royals and Twins. And I have been agitating for Michael Garcia to bat higher in the order, maybe even lead off. Well, he is batting higher in the order tonight. He's batting cleanup. That's because Salvador Perez isn't playing tonight. Salvador Perez was in the initial lineup, but per Ann Rogers of MLB.com, Salvy's a little under the weather, so he will not play tonight, and that is too bad, especially in this ballpark where he has performed better than he has in any other American League ballpark. An 888 career OPS at Target Field for Salvador Perez, but he will be out of the lineup tonight, maybe available to pinch hit, but a little under the weather for Sal. So he is out of tonight's lineup, and that's especially disappointing, not just because, A, he's Salvi and he homered on Wednesday. Hope maybe that gets him on the right track. You want to keep him going, and he's got such great numbers at Target Field. But also, the Royals have a tall task tonight against Pablo Lopez, who in his last 4 starts against the Royals has allowed just 3 earned runs in 26 2/3 innings. So he's averaging close to 7 innings per start and has allowed just 3 earned runs in that span with 30 strikeouts and only 1 walk. He has been awesome against the Royals to the tune of a 1.01 ERA in his last 4 starts, including opening day this year where he didn't give up an earned run, only went 4 2/3 innings. But again, it was opening day. So it's a tall task against the veteran right-hander who's pitched really well this season to the tune of a 2.40 ERA. The lineup that will try and handle Pablo Lopez in this series opener will be Jonathan India at second base, Bobby Witt Jr. at short, Vinny Pasquantino at first. And then the song gets interrupted. The needle skips because Salvi's not hitting cleanup. It's Michael Garcia who will be in the 4-hole at third base. Kevin Biggio will DH tonight and bat 5th. Drew Waters bats 6th in right field. Freddie Fermin will bat 7th in and do the catching. Michael Massey is in left field. I believe this is his 3rd start of the year in left. He's batting 8th, and Kyle Isbell, who's been one of the hottest Royals, quiet as it's kept, will bat 9th and play center field. Noah Cameron on the hill for Kansas City tonight. 3rd big league start. He posted a 0.71 earned run average in his first 2 starts with the big club. He will face a Twins lineup that gets Carlos Correa back from injury. He was on the 7-day concussion injured list, but was activated earlier this afternoon, so he is back in the lineup. The rest of the Twins lineup, Ryan Jeffers will lead off and catch. Royce Lewis is the DH, batting 2nd. Slow start to the year for Royce Lewis, who's coming off an injury, which seems like is always the case with him, unfortunately. He has been a Royals killer, but is hitting just 191 to start his 2025. Trevor Larnach's been hot. He's in right field batting 3rd. Carlos Correa will bat cleanup and play short. Ty France, the Royal killer of Royal killers. Is he, other than Jose Ramirez, I don't know that there is a more prominent Royals killer active right now than Ty France. Just as a hitter. Because you can name pitchers, and they're all on the Twins, which is weird. Like, the Royals have played the Twins okay the last couple of years, but they can't beat Joe Ryan. They can't hit Pablo Lopez. They can't get Ty France out. They can't get Royce Lewis out over years, it feels like. But Ty France is batting 5th. He's at first base. He's been in a funk, and maybe Noah Cameron can keep that going. Brooks Lee, the switch hitting second baseman, bats sixth. Jonah Bride, who I didn't know was on the Twins, is their third baseman, batting seventh. Harrison Bader, who has also been red hot in this recent stretch of play for the Twins, he'll bat eighth and play center field. Willie Castro's the left fielder, batting ninth.
I have a gripe with this lineup.
Which one?
For the Royals.
Okay.
You make this move today. You DFA Hunter Renfroe. You bring up Nick Lofton. Nick Lofton hitting 295 at AAA. I said this earlier. I said if you're the Royals, you promote him for a reason. You play him. You don't want to see a guy get promoted to sit on the bench. JJ Piccolo. Aaron Rodgers posted this on X said just about 20 minutes ago. JJ Piccolo on the Renfroe decision. Quote, this is as much about Nick Lofton doing what he did in AAA that gave us the reason to believe we have a replacement who maybe would be an upgrade for our team. A lot of credit goes to Nick as well. So you're going to credit him, but then he's not going to be in the lineup?
You do wonder when he was able to get to Minneapolis. That's a factor, right? Like if he got there late last night, which if you knew you were going to make the move, make it Thursday, so he's got a day to get to Minnesota and can be with the team, and then you can put him in the lineup.
It just seems a little like weird to me.
I understand where you're coming from. It's also like a tough draw. Like, hey, welcome to the big leagues. It's been a whirlwind last 24 hours for you. You're back in the show. You got to go face Pablo Lopez. Like that's a tough draw. Maybe they want to ease him in against maybe somebody he's more familiar with Zebby Matthews.
But don't make the move then. Don't make the move until Saturday. Have Hunter Renfroe be a bench guy.
If you're gonna cut the cord, cut the cord. Lofton's available as a pinch hitter tonight. Maybe he pinch hits against a left-handed reliever there. They've stacked the lefties at the bottom of the order with Massey and Isbell back to back. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big spot tonight and the Twins go to a lefty out of the bullpen for the bottom of that order. If you do see Lofton in a pinch hitter role, like I agree that Lofton needs to play. Like I'm with you. I understand why he's not playing tonight. I'd like to see him in the lineup tomorrow, frankly. I'd like to see him at second base. But I understand why he's not in tonight. But I also agree with you that if you call him up, play him. If you call him up and you say he's kicked down the door and he belongs here, then he needs to have the chance to prove that he belongs here. So I'm not disagreeing with you, Spencer. I think you're broadly right. I'm just saying in the short term, I get why they're not playing him tonight, even if I kind of wish they were. So the Royals and the Twins will start at 7:10 tonight, 6:30 pregame coverage from the Royals Baseball Network. A couple of other notes from Aaron Rodgers, injury notes, one good, one not so good. Kyle Wright's going to go back on rehab assignment, the former 20-game winner who was on rehab and experienced some arm soreness. They shut him down. He's going to go back on rehab. That's a positive. Hunter Harvey. Man, this isn't working out. He is not progressing as quickly as he and the club would hope, according to Aaron Rodgers on X. Playing catch, but still has soreness that he needs to get past before moving to the next step. What a bummer. He was off to such a good start. And unfortunately, it still sounds like it's going to be a while before Hunter Harvey is back on a big league mound. The good news for the Royals is his absence has allowed them to find out, hey, man, this Steven Cruz is pretty good. And it's allowed for John Schreiber to show that he has improved a little bit from last year. So, silver lining in every cloud, but certainly disappointing for Hunter Harvey. The Royals will be better when they can get him back whenever that may be, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be anytime soon. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we will wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk with the final word. Time to wrap up the week of 580 Sports Talk with a final word. Spencer Dupuis, lay it on us.
Yeah, the Royals did it. They finally DFA'd Hunter Renfroe today, although I just said I was a little disappointed that if you bring up a guy, he's not in the lineup. I think for Hunter Renfroe, obviously it's been some time coming. They signed him to a 2-year deal last year and didn't really work out to start the year last year. You thought maybe would they pull the plug last year, but they waited and he turned it around. And it appeared maybe something was starting to happen, and then they pulled the plug for real this time, and he gets DFA'd. He's going to no longer be most likely with the organization. But, yeah, Hunter Renfroe, thanks for what you did for the Royals last year.
Final word for me today. I just love the fact that this Royals Twins series has some sizzle, that the Royals and the Twins are both jockeying for position in a tightly contested American League Central, and that the outcome of these games this weekend could be significant when we come down the stretch in August and September, that the Royals have an opportunity to go on the road and come back with a winning road trip and cool off a team that's been the hottest in the American League. I love it. I love that there's some sizzle to this series. Memorial Day is when baseball really starts to gain steam, it feels like. You're 2 months in. You feel like you know who's good and who isn't. And now you start to really roll. You're in the everyday routine now. And this is going to be a fun series. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. It lines up good for the Royals after tonight. It's going to be hard to beat Pablo Lopez. It has been in recent years for Kansas City. But they've got Joaquin Bubich on the bump the 2 nights after that. And those are the 2 hot hands in this rotation you want to ride to a series win. That's going to do it for 580 Sports Talk today. We will be off on Monday for the Memorial Day holiday. Do take time this Memorial Day to remember those who lost their lives making the ultimate sacrifice for our country in combat. And do remember those folks on this Memorial Day. Take some time to remember the reason for the day. And take some time for yourselves. Enjoy a 3-day weekend. And we'll be back on Monday, or Tuesday, rather, from 3 until 6. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This is 580 Sports Talk. Good night.